they're no good than the other group actually. In fact, they may be worse off in certain respect. I'm not talking about individuals, I'm talking about I'm just generalizing it. So I come to the masjid regularly. I do bit khidmah to the masjid as well. But you know what? I feel that I'm better than others. If that is a disease in your heart, then you know that you have not done anything. It was better that you didn't even come to the masjid. At least you would not have incurred any wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or sin of Allah. I'm not saying that don't do it. What I'm trying to get at is to improve your situation in the heart. Imam Sa'di, Sheikh Sa'di, the famous Persian one, he was in masjid in i'tikaf with few brothers and his father as well. So his father happens to be a scholar. So he is narrating his own incident. He said, one day everyone was doing all the ibadat and everything. But one night at tahajjud time, my father woke me up and we prayed tahajjud. And it happened that none of the other people could wake up. They were all like sleeping. So we did our tahajjud. And after that, I looked at my father and said, oh, Dad, look at these people. What's the point of being in masjid when they can't even wake up at tahajjud? And my dad looked at me and in a very sad face, he said, I wish you didn't wake up at tahajjud. It would have been better for you to not to wake up at tahajjud. Tahajjud is not farm. But to look down upon someone else is haram. And you did that. So you committed a haram for a nafli act. What have you achieved? Nothing. Balance minus. Not zero, minus. You've incurred a sin in your account. Despite waking up, doing wudu, praying extra rakat, could be half an hour, whatever. So this is takabbur. This is easy to understand, that someone is lower than me. The subtler disease is called ujub. Ujub is when you do not look down upon anyone else, but you consider yourself to be something. Not because he is bad, no, I am something. I have achieved something. I have got some significance. Because I'm doing khidmah to deen. I'm imam of the masjid for that many years. I'm doing adhan in the masjid for many, many years. I clean the masjid. I do this voluntary work. I'm engaged with this organization, with this charity, with whatever. So many different actions that we do. All of that, when you look at others, you feel that he's not even doing this. He doesn't even do his Jummah. He doesn't do this. So I'm definitely, especially if someone is known in your family for not being as practicing. Even then you're not allowed to look down upon anyone. Whereas any of the little action in the eyes of Allah are not considered low, likewise any of the sins, any of the bad deeds which you do or anyone does, do not belittle that either. That can ruin your akhirah. One good deed can save you on the Day of Judgment, and one bad deed can spoil everything. And we know, especially with regards to people, with regards to human being, human interaction. And that's when we fail badly. And that's why you know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in 2 hadiths, he mentioned about 2 different people, both ladies. One lady would be in Jannah, despite the fact that she has been prostitute all her life. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that she was a prostitute, a bad lady. Income is haram, doing haram throughout her life. What happened? She was very thirsty on her way, and she went down to the well, took some water off. About to drink it, she saw a dog, a thirsty dog, coming closer. Hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari. And then she thought, let me just feed this animal first. And that's what she did. So the animal had the water, and obviously was very happy with that. Ran away. She went back, had to toil extra, had to do extra action to go down. It wasn't like you have to just open the fridge. It was just to go down in the well and take the water out for yourself and then drink in her leather sock. This is what she did. That's the only action she did. Now for this, she was granted Jannah. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned about another lady. She was the pious lady, apparently, doing all the righteous things, known in the community to be the very pious lady, except that she had a cat, which she would lock in the house. Would never let the cat go out, and wouldn't feed most of the time. So the cat died of hunger. But Rasulullah said that she would be in hellfire. Means she would taste the punishment in hellfire, and after all the punishment, then she had to detour her Jannah way. There was a muhaddis who used to write hadith all his life. Learned hadith, taught hadith, and written hadith. So it was just writing hadith. And you could imagine writing hadith, even now, is a very big task. Even typing in the computer is much more a big task. But to write it with a pen, where you have to dip it in the ink and then write, you can only write 2 words, go back again, keep doing it. So he was doing it, and it was a very hot day in the afternoon. So as he did that, when he met Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so Allah asked him, what did you do? And as happened, this is all tamthilat. So he then said that, you know what, I have this, Ya Allah, for the sake of your pleasure, I did write hadith and taught hadith and tried to practice as much as many people do it. I'm not that interested. That was okay deed, good deed, not too bad. Alhamdulillah. But what else? You know what? You're not going to get to Jannah for that action. But you're going to go to Jannah for this action. Then he was given this action what he did. So he was just writing the hadith, and he lifted his qalam, his pen, and there was ink there. So a fly came and he started sucking on that because it was very thirsty. So he left his pen for a few moments like this, and when it flew, he started writing again. That's the action I'm more interested in. For you. It doesn't mean that you all do this and then say, I don't need to pray, I don't need to do anything. I'm not trying to give that impression at all. What I'm trying to say, you do not know what would please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do not know what would please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For me, it is just individualized, very individualized. It is your intention, it is your dedication, it is your concern for akhirah. It is not about how many times you come and you do good deeds. It's about your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how and why you're doing it. If you don't think about that, I'm doing it because I have to do it, what would the next door neighbor would think about me because despite having all the beard and I'm not going to do the masjid, I have to do it because people keep asking. Oh, I'm old, I've got nothing else to do, what do I do? Maybe just go to the masjid. So if those are the intentions, that intention is not the best intention you want to be having. So make sure we purify our intention and do not belittle any action. Now, sitting in the masjid, for example, Quran says, إِذَا قِيلَ لَكُمْ تَفَسَّحُوا فِي الْمَجَالِسِ. When it is said to you, O you believe, يَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا قِيلَ لَكُمْ تَفَسَّحُوا فِي الْمَجَالِسِ. When it is said to you, that make some space for brothers. And you must have heard it several times. And I know what? Most people, if there was no space, they wouldn't move. Most people, if they have a space, they wouldn't move. You have to literally push people, metaphorically, together to create some extra space. Why? I'm not bothered. If the people outside, so that's their problem. It's not my role to do anything. Let them do it. Because we're not concerned about any of those extra ma'rufat that we can accumulate in our account on the day of judgment, or be regretting on that day. Our teachers used to say, if it is said to you ever from the pulpit to move, and you know that there's no space left in saf or in bayan, and literally, even then just push a bit. Just sit and just move a bit, to show that you have acted upon the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it is presented to you. That is a sound heart. That is a heart, because most of the time, why we don't move? If I say, please brother, don't move, and just move, or just don't recline on the wall, or don't lean on the wall, what would happen mostly? Who is he? Let him say, I don't care. It's the arrogance. Who the hell is he saying like that to me? That's what happens. Because I know. That's arrogance. Because why should I submit to anyone? That is what we think. That is our attitude. Who is he to tell me? I know myself better. I've studied all that. I know it. That sort of arrogance, self-respect, overly, ego, these are diseases. And this is the disease which kills us all. That's why our actions are a lot, but they have not got enough weight. Do you know anyone other than Muslims, mashallah, going to pilgrimage every year? To that much? The dedication that we see in Hajj and in Umrah, every year millions of people doing it? Yes? Agreed? There's no change in Ummah. Actually, we are just in a downward spiral. Is that because Allah doesn't love us? Or is that our religion is not the religion of Islam? Or the religion of Allah? No, it is. And then Allah's command, what about that? أَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. You'll be over the top if you are the believers. Nothing of that sort we're seeing in our lives. We're seeing the opposite. It's not because them, it's because me, personally, individually, each of us. Because we are very selective in what I want to practice. I feel like doing this, I'm happy with this, but when it comes to dealing with my children and with my wife, I have to bark all the time. I have to be the most arrogant person in the house. When it comes to the work, even the simplest of the person can say whatever, and I listen because this is my job. I have to say, no problem. And I can take any harsh comments, right or wrong, from my boss because I have to subdue, which is fine, which is okay. I'm not saying that don't go out and then start rebelling against. No, don't lose your job for that. That's completely silly action. But you know that you're weak here, you submit. And in the house, they are the weaker ones. I can do whatever, so let me just come out of my shell and start shouting like a crazy dog in the house. And that's what we do. This is our attitude. When we can subdue someone, we try our best to make sure that that person is going to subjugate to my command. I am the master in the house. People should just listen to me. Very bad attitude, very wrong attitude. So start working on our inner selves. Don't belittle any action, even if you can't do it. So many a time, our ego would make us think this way. You see someone using miswak, for example. In this day and age, miswak, subhanAllah. Why can't you just do this toothbrush? You can't do it, don't do it. You don't want to do it, don't do it. You believe that the sunnah is the toothbrush, equivalent to miswak. Fine, but don't belittle that action because he is doing to follow the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So why are you thinking that it's wrong? The wrong is why, you know what? Or even the hijab, even any of the action outside, you feel, I think mostly it's just to do with the fact that what is the impression going to be in the non-Muslims' eyes? What the wider community would think about that, and you feel, oh, who would look? So in a way, there is a concern for Ummah as a whole, but a wrong one. A wrong one. And Khutbah bin Amir and the other Sahabas, when they were with the Egyptians and with other people in the Persia, what happened to them? He was eating, he was given the food as ambassador, he was sitting there and the food just went, maybe a drop or something dripped on or dropped on the what you call the mat, the starkhan, so on the sheet. So he started lifting that and was about to eat that, the morsel that fell on the table or tablecloth. The next person, who happens to be a Muslim but not a Sahabi, he said to him, he nudged him, said, "Don't do it, it's enough food." They would consider us to be stingy or greedy, someone who is just